In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Alif, Lam, Ra. These are the verses of the book and a clear Quran.
See Surah Ibrahim, Ayah 48, for the Tafsir.
Perhaps those who disbelieve will wish that they had been Muslims.
See Surah Ibrahim, Ayah 48, for the Tafsir.
Let them eat and enjoy themselves and be diverted by false hope, for they are going to know.
Commentary. From Let Them Eat we can see that the making of eating and drinking the real occupation and aim of life, and keeping glued to long, drawn material plans while surrounded by countless things of worldly comfort, and becoming totally heedless to death, is something which can be done only by the disbelievers. The reason is that they do not believe in the hereafter, the life to come, and the accounting of deeds there, and the reward and punishment for it. As for eating and drinking, a believer does it too, and takes care of economic needs to the measure of necessity, and makes future plans for occupation and business as well. But a believer would not make all these efforts by forgetting death and ignoring the concern for the hereafter. Therefore, he is careful about everything he does and finds out whether it is halal or haram, permissible or forbidden. Then he does not occupy himself in the making of wasteful or unnecessary plans and projections as hobby or compulsion. The Holy Prophet said, 4 things are signs of being unfortunate: not being able to shed tears, that is, not being in tears when ashamed of acts of negligence and sin, and hard-heartedness, fanciful hopes and plans for the future, and the greed for worldly things. Quote 2 by from Musnad al-Bazar from Say Ibn Anas, may Allah be pleased with him. And the expression, let their fancy make them neglectful, means the making of long-drawn plans with engrossing love, and the greed for the material without any concern for death and the hereafter. Quote 2y, as for plans made to achieve religious objectives, or those made to guard the future interests of a people or country, they are not included here because that is a form of the concern for the hereafter itself. The Holy Prophet said, the first set of people from this Ummah will have their salvation because of their perfect faith and avoidance of the pursuit of the material, dunya, and the later people of the Ummah will be destroyed because of miserliness and fancies projected too far. It has been reported from Sayyidina Abu ad-Darda, may Allah be pleased with him, that he stood up on the mimbar of Jami Masjid of Damascus and said, O people of Damascus, would you listen to what this well-wishing brother of yours has to say? So listen to me. There have been big people before you who made big money, collected golden things, built magnificent palaces, and made long-hauled plans and projections for the future. Today they are dust. Their residences are their graves, and all their long-winded hopes and plans have proved to be no more than a web of deception. Close to you lived the people of Ad, who had stuffed their country with their fighting men, wealth, means, possessions, arms, and horses. Is there someone around who would be ready to buy what they left behind as their legacy for 2 silver dirhams from me? Imam al-Hasan al-Basri, may Allah have mercy on him, said, a person with long plans, hopes, and fancies is bound to ruin his proper conduct in life. Al-Qatubai.
And we did not destroy any city, but that for it was a known decree.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 3, for the Tafsir.
No nation will precede its term, nor will they remain thereafter.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 3, for the Tafsir.
And they say, O you upon whom the message has been sent down, indeed you are mad.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 3, for the Tafsir.
Why do you not bring us the angels if you should be among the truthful?
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 3, for the Tafsir.
We do not send down the angels except with truth, and the disbelievers would not then be reprieved.
Explanatory notes. The word, what is true, in Ilya by Halal-Ak, translated as except with what is true, means the decision to send down punishment. Some commentators take them to be denoting the Quran or prophethood. In Bayan al-Quran, preference has been given to the first meaning, which has been reported from al-Hasan al-Basri, may Allah have mercy on him. Maulana Ashraf Ali Than, Abi, may Allah have mercy on him, has explained these verses as given below. And these disbelievers of Makkah said to the Holy Prophet, O you to whom the Quran has been revealed, as you claim, then you are certainly, God forbid, insane, and your claim to prophethood is false. Otherwise, Why would you not bring the angels to us, who will testify your truthfulness before us, as in Surah Al-Furqan? Why is not an angel sent down unto him, to be a warner with him? Surah Al-Furqan, Ayah 7, which is answered by Allah Ta'ala, we send down the angels in the manner asked by them, only to enforce a decision, and had that been the case, then they would have been given no respite either in fact. When they would have not believed even after their having come as their ways guarantee, they would have been destroyed instantly, the reason for which has already appeared in the later verses of the first section of Surah Al-An'am, Ayah 8-9.
Indeed, it is we who sent down the message, and indeed we will be its guardian.
Commentary. An episode from the court of Ma'mun. Imam al-Qurtubi has authentically reported an event from the court of Abbasi Khalifa al-Ma'mun. He was used to patronizing occasional debates on intellectual issues at his court, where all scholars were welcome. It so happened that a Jew came to attend one of these debates. By his looks, dress, and manners, he seemed to be an elegant person. Then, his address during the debate was eloquent and intellectually bright. When the meeting was over, Ma'mun called for him and asked him if he was an Israelite, which he confirmed. To test him, Ma'mun asked him to become a Muslim, in which case he could hope to have the best possible treatment from him. He said that he was not willing to leave the religion of his forefathers, which was his religion too. The matter ended there. That person went away. Then, after a year, the same person returned as a Muslim and made a very distinct contribution in the court meeting on the subject of Islamic jurisprudence. After the session was over, Ma'mun called for him and asked him if he was the same person who had come last year. He said, "Yes, I am." Ma'mun asked, "At that time you have refused to accept Islam. Tell me what made you accept Islam now." He said, "When I went back from here, I decided to do some research on contemporary religions. I am a scribe. I write books and sell them. They bring good price. This time, I wanted to make a test. First, I calligraphed 3 manuscripts of the Torah, in which I made some additions and deletions on my own. I took these manuscripts to the synagogue. The Jews found them interesting and bought them. Then I did the same things with the Injil. I calligraphed 3 manuscripts, complete with my additions and deletions, and took them to the church, where the Christians were pleased with these manuscripts and bought them from me. After that, I tried the same thing with the Quran. I calligraphed 3 good-looking manuscripts of the Quran, of course with the usual additions and deletions of my own. When I went out to sell them, I faced a problem. Every buyer I went to would take the manuscript, look into it to determine if it was correct or not, and when he would notice additions or deletions made into it, he would quietly return the manuscript back to me. From this episode, I learnt my lesson that this book is protected, and protected by Allah Ta'ala himself. Therefore, I embraced Islam. Khadijah ibn Aktham, the narrator of this event, says that, by chance, he had the tawfiq of performing his Hajj in the same year. There he met Sufyan ibn Uyayna, to whom he related this event. He said, "Surely, this is how it should be, because this is confirmed by the Quran." Yahya ibn Aktham asked about the ayah he had in mind. He said, when the glorious Quran mentions the Torah and the Injil, there it says, that is, the Jews and Christians have been entrusted with the responsibility of protecting the Torah and Injil, the books of Allah. Surah Al-Ma'idah, Ayah 44. This is the reason why, when the Jews and Christians did not fulfill their duty of protecting them, these books were lost through distortions and alterations. This is contrary to the case of the Holy Quran, about which Allah Ta'ala has said, "And we are there to protect it." Thus, when Allah Ta'ala himself arranged to have it remain protected, then, despite thousands of efforts made by enemies, not a single change in one tiny dot or case mark could be made. Today, over 1400 years have passed since even the blessed age of the Holy Prophet, and there has been a shortfall and neglect on the part of Muslims in all areas of their religious matters. Yet the continuous arrangement of memorizing the Holy Qur'an and all over the world stands firmly established as it was. In every period of time, there are millions of Muslims, old and young, male and female, always present on the scene, blessed people in whose hearts and minds the Holy Qur'an lies protected. Before them, not even the highest of the high religious scholar can dare recite a single letter of the Qur'an wrong, for there would be around at that time many, seniors or children, who would promptly apprehend the error. The promise to protect the Qur'an includes the protection of hadith. As a matter of principle, all learned people agree that the Qur'an is neither the name of the words of the Qur'an alone, nor that of its meanings alone. Instead, a combination of both is called the Qur'an. The reason is that Quranic meanings and subjects appear in other books as well, and as for Islamic writings, their subjects are essentially Quranic, but they are not called Quran because they are not the words of the Quran. Similarly, if a person were to borrow different words and sentences from the Holy Quran and write an article or treatise, no one will call this too by the name of Quran, even though there is no word from outside the Quran. This tells us that the Quran is the exclusive name of the particular divinely revealed book, the words and meanings of which are simultaneously protected. This also leads us to the ruling that the practice of people who publish the translation of the Quran and only in a foreign language and give it the name, for example, an English Quran or an Urdu Quran, is not permissible at all because that is not the Quran. And when we know the Quran is not the name of the words of the Quran alone, but that its meaning too are part of it, then the responsibility of protecting the Quran taken upon himself in this verse by Allah Ta'ala covers the total protection of the words of the Quran, and as well as the meanings of the Quran, and in that they remain protected against alteration or distortion. And it is obvious that the meanings of the Quran are the same as the Holy Prophet was sent to teach, as pointed out in the Quran, Surah An-Nahl, Ayah 44. It means to have been said to explain the meaning of what has been revealed for them. And this is what the verse teaches them, the book and the wisdom. Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 164 also means. And that is why he said, "As for me, I have been sent as a teacher." Now, when the Holy Prophet was sent to explain the meanings of the Quran and to impart education to people, then he used a set of his sayings and doings as the medium of instruction for his community, and this very set of his words and deeds is known as the Hadith. One who says that the ahadith of the Rasul of Allah are not absolutely protected is really saying that the Quran is not protected. There are people around who would like to deceive the whole world by saying that the treasure of ahadith present in authentic books is not trustworthy because it has been documented much later than the blessed age of the Holy Prophet. First of all, even this assumption of theirs is not correct, because the process of protection and documentation of ahadith had already started within the age of prophethood itself, though it was completed later. In addition to that, the hadith of the Rasul of Allah is really the explanation of the Quran and the meaning of the Quran. Their protection is something which Allah Ta'ala has taken upon himself. Then how can it be possible that only the words of the Quran remain protected while the meanings of the Quran, that is, the ahadith of the Rasul, go to waste?
And we had certainly sent messengers before you, O Muhammad, among the sects of the former peoples.
A lexical note of explanation. The word in the first verse, Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 10, is the plural form of Shah, which means the follower or helper of a person. Then, it is also used to denote a group which agrees upon particular beliefs and theoretical assumptions. So, the sense of the statement is that Allah Ta'ala has sent messengers among every group or sect. Here, by using the word in place of ilah, to translate it as among the groups of earlier peoples, the hint given is that the messenger for every group was sent from among that particular group so that people would find it easy to trust him, and that he too, by being aware of their taste and temperament, could make appropriate plans to work for their reform.
And no messenger would come to them except that they ridiculed him.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
Thus do we insert denial into the hearts of the criminals.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
They will not believe in it, while there has already occurred the precedent of the former peoples.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
And even if we opened to them a gate from the heaven and they continued therein to ascend.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
They would say, "Our eyes have only been dazzled. Rather, we are a people affected by magic."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
And we have placed within the heaven great stars and have beautified it for the observers.
Sequence. Mentioned in the previous verses was the doggedness and hostility of deniers and disbelievers. In the present verse, and in those which follow immediately after, clear proofs of the oneness, knowledge, and power of Allah Ta'ala have been given. Described alongside is what transpires before his creation between the heavens and the earth, a little deliberation in which on the part of a sensible person would make any denial impossible. Commentary. The word is the plural of bird, which is applied to big palaces and castles and to similar other structural entities. Tafsir authorities Mujahid, Qatada, Abu Sali, and others have explained Buraj at this place in the sense of big stars. As for the statement in this verse which points to the creation of these big stars in the sky, the word as sama, sky, means atmosphere, which, in common modern-day terminology, is called the space. The application of as-sama in both these senses is common and recognized. Thus, the physical presence of deep space is identified as as-sama, and the atmosphere much lower than it has also been repeatedly termed as sama in the Holy Quran. As for the planets and stars being in the space and not in the skies, the relevant investigative details, as coordinated with the verses of the Quran in classical and modern astronomy, will inshallah appear under our comments on the verse, "Blessed is he who made in the sky stellar formations and made in it the sun and the moon providing light," of Surah Al-Furqan, Surah Al-Furqan, Ayah 61.
And we have protected it from every devil expelled from the mercy of Allah.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 16, for the Tafsir.
Except one who steals a hearing and is pursued by a clear burning flame.
Commentary. The meteor. The first thing these verses prove is that the shaitans have no access to the heavens. That Shaitan the accursed was in the heavens at the time of the creation of Sayyidina Adam, and that he deceived Adam and Hawa, Eve, were events which took place before they appeared on the earth. Up to that time, the entry of the jinns and shaitans in the heavens was not prohibited. It was after the coming down of Sayyidina Adam, and the expulsion of the shaitan, that this entry was banned. From what has been said in Surah Al-Jinn, and we used to sit in ambush at places from it so as to eavesdrop. Whoever then tries to hear would find for him a flame in hot pursuit. Surah Al-Jinn, Ayah 9. It appears that, before the coming of the Holy Prophet, the shaitans could overhear about things happening in the heaven through the mutual conversation of angels. This does not necessarily imply that the shaitans used to hear about such information by entering into the heavens. The first sentence of the verse quoted above gives the sense that they would enter the atmospheric zone where clouds abound like thieves, would sit there in ambush and hear. These words themselves are indicative of no other possibility but that the entry of the jinns and the shaitans had continued to be banned in the heavens, but they would reach the outer atmosphere of the skies and hear a little by stealth. It was after the advent of the Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings be on him, that an additional arrangement was activated when the shaitans were stopped even from this covert eavesdropping through meteors or shooting stars, al-Shihab al-Thaqib, which zoom in upon them from the outer space with enormous speed. Now the question as to how could the shaitans hear the conversation of angels taking place inside the heavens while they were out of it is not something just impossible. It is quite probable that the heavenly bodies not be prohibitive of the audition of sounds, and it is also not far out that the angels sometimes come lower down the heavens and engage themselves in some conversation hearing, which the shaitans used to run. A hadith of Sayyidah Aisha, may Allah be pleased with him, appearing in the Sahih of al-Bukhari, confirms this very probability. She said that the angels sometimes come down as far as where the clouds are and talk about the heavenly happenings among themselves. It was in this atmospheric zone of the skies that the shaitans used to hide themselves in to hear this news. This furtive effort of theirs was stopped through al-Shihab al-Thaqib, the shooting stars. Detailed comments on the subject will, inshallah, appear in Surah Al-Jinn under our exegesis of the verse, Surah Al-Jinn, Ayah 9. Now, the second question we have here is that of al-Shihab al-Thaqib, meteors or shooting stars in these verses. According to the statements of the Holy Quran, it appears that these shihabs or flames are formed to hit the shaitans in order that the revelation remains protected. In other words, the shaitans are driven away through them so that they would not overhear angels. The difficult part of the question relates to the fact that the presence of shooting stars in outer space is nothing new. Falling stars were seen even before the coming of the Holy Prophet, and this phenomena continues later than that as well. If so, how can it be said that the shooting stars show up to drive the shaitans away, which is the particular feature of the age of the Holy Prophet? Obviously, this seems to support the view of the scientists who say that meteors become so hot from rushing through the air that they glow and often burn up, which gives onlookers the impression that a star has fallen. Therefore, in usage, this is identified as a falling star. The Arabic language itself has an expression, inqidad al-Kawkab, which is a virtual synonym of the falling of a star. However, the answer is that there is no contradiction here. One or more scientific explanations for this phenomena could be possible. For example, vapors rising from the Earth's surface may heat up at some point, or the speed of the meteors makes them glow and burn, or a flame emits from a star, and this may have habitually continued since ever. But before the coming of the Holy Prophet, these flames were not employed to serve a particular purpose. However, after his coming, meteoric flames were employed to serve the purpose of shooting the shaitans who would come up to stealthily hear the conversation of angels. This is how Allama al-Alusi has interpreted it in Rad al-Ma'ani. There he reports that someone asked Imam Zuri, the hadith authority, that stars used to fall even before the coming of the Holy Prophet. He said, yes. Thereupon, this person confronted him by quoting the verse cited above. Then he said, the shooting stars, no doubt, did exist before, but after the coming of the Holy Prophet, when the shaitans were dealt with sternly, these were employed to drive them away. In the hadith of the Sahih of Muslim, there is a narration from Sayyidina ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, which reports the saying of the Holy Prophet himself on the subject. According to this report, he was sitting with a group of his Sahaba, may Allah be pleased with him, when they saw a star falling. He asked them, did you take the falling of a star to be during the days of Jahiliyyah, that is, before Islam? They said, we took it to be a sign of some major upheaval in the world, or that a prominent man would die or be born. He said, this is absurd. It has nothing to do with someone's death or birth. As for these flames, they are thrown to dispel the shaitans. To sum up, it can be said that the view of scientists about the shooting stars is also not contrary to the Qur'an, and it is also not too far out to state that these flames were made to fall directly from some stars. Whichever way it is taken, the purpose of the Qur'an stands proved clearly.
And the earth, we have spread it and cast therein firmly set mountains, and caused to grow therein something of every well-balanced thing.
Commentary. Divine wisdom, balanced provision for human needs. One sense of the expression, everything in balance, is what has been taken in the present translation of the text. That is, it was in his infinite wisdom that he caused everything that grows to grow in a determined measure, not less than that which would have made life difficult, and not too much which would have also brought difficulties of a different nature. If grains like wheat and rice and the best of fruits around were to grow in such excess that stockpiles of them remain behind even after their liberal consumption by human beings and animals, then it is obvious that they would go bad, or their possible storage in ideal natural state will be difficult under varying conditions, and if they had to be dumped, then not much space will be left for such mega dumpings. This tells us that it was also within the power of Allah Ta'ala that he would have caused grains and fruits on which human life depends to grow in such abundance that everyone would have them free everywhere, so much so that, despite their carefree use, stores upon stores of them would have kept lying around. Then a situation could have turned into a punishment for human beings. Therefore, these were provided in a particular measure and balance so that their worth and value remains actively recognized, and that they are not left over only to go to waste either. And this expression, everything in balance, could also be taken in the sense that Allah Ta'ala has created everything that grows in a suitable and proportionate manner which gives it beauty and attraction. Trees are different, so are their trunks, branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. Different are their sizes, shapes, colors, and tastes that one readily sees as their happy balance and delightful looks. Everyone enjoys having them around, but a full comprehension of the wisdom which has gone into their making is not possible for any human being.
And we have made for you therein means of living, and for those for whom you are not providers.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And there is not a thing, but that with us are its depositories, and we do not send it down except according to a known measure.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And we have sent the fertilizing winds, and sent down water from the sky and given you drink from it, and you are not its retainers.
Water supply, the unique divine arrangement. In verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 22, from and we send forth winds. 2. And you are not able to store it. A hint has been given to this wise arrangement through which a formidable system has been established to provide water for all human beings, animals, cattle, birds, and beasts who live on this earth, as and when they need it. Under this arrangement, everyone gets water everywhere, under all conditions, as needed for drinking or bathing or washing or for irrigating farms and trees. This is water at no cost. As for those who would spend to dig a well or put water pipes to receive the supply of water, they only pay for the means and facilities. No one can pay for even a drop of water, nor has anyone been asked to pay for it. Mentioned first in the verse was how divine power has set in motion its unique system of delivering water from the sea all over the earth by creating vapors in the sea which generated the substance of rains. the monsoons, and on top of it fan the winds which would transform it into clouds, making them as if they were mountain-like plains laden with water. Then comes the task of having these giant planes carrying their cargo of water reach every nook and corner of the world where it must reach. And then this mission is accomplished directly under divine command, whereby these gigantic oil planes would rain down a specific quantity of water over a specific area of the earth, as commanded. In this manner, water from the sea is home delivered to all inhabitants of the earth, human beings and animals, wherever they may be. Then, this system takes care of seeing that an equally unique change is made in the taste and properties of the water being delivered. We know that Allah Ta'ala has, in His wisdom, made seawater so salty and brackish that tons and tons of salt is extracted and used from it. The element of wisdom behind it is that this great sea sphere, which is home to lions and billions of life forms, and their burial place too, where they die and disintegrate. Then, foul water from all over the earth, despite much publicized ecological concerns voiced by the polluters themselves, ultimately gets delivered in it. Had this been sweet water, it would have gone bad within a day, and its stench would have been so severe that it would have become a health hazard for the dwellers on land. Therefore, nature made it so acidly brackish that it would just burn up the filth which keeps reaching it from all over the world. So, it was based on this wise consideration that the seawater was made salty, rather brackish, which cannot be drunk or used to quench thirst. Certainly great is the divine system which not only made water planes designed as clouds to carry the priceless treasures of water, but did much more when it activated its own desalination without the help of huge mechanized plants used for this purpose in our time. It only took the period of time from the rising of the monsoons until the rains fell down on the earth that salt from sea water separated and sweet water was what we got. A reference to this appears in Surah Al-Mursalat, Ayah 27, where it is said, it means, we gave you water to drink, which quenches thirst. The word furat used here signifies thirst-quenching sweet water. In other words, the sense is that Allah has made the salty water of the sea go through His own desalination plant in the clouds and has arranged for you to have sweet drinking water out of water which was brackish. The same subject occurs in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, Ayah 68-70, where it is said, you see the water you drink? Is it you who bring it down from the cloud, or are we the senders? If we had willed, we would have made it bitter. Why then, would you not be grateful? Up to this point, we have seen the spectacular manifestation of divine power as to how it has picked up water from the sea, changed it into sweet water, and delivered it through clouds all over the world with such efficiency of management that it reached not only the human beings of every region, but was also passed on to animals and wildlife which are not within the range of human inquiry. Water was, so to say, home delivered to them and free of cost too. In fact, they had to have it. But this arrangement does not solve the problem faced by human beings and animals because they need water every day, rather every moment. Therefore, one method of fulfilling their daily demand was to have rains come every day, 12 months a year. But under this arrangement, their elemental need for water would have been taken care of to a certain degree. However, the disturbance they would have faced in other economic activities is not difficult to foresee, at least for those who have the experience. Constant rain, every day of the year, would have affected health and caused gridlocks in transportation, hazards in movement, and sluggishness in business. Also possible was a second method, that there be enough rain in particular months of the year so that the water from it becomes sufficient for the rest of the months. But this method would have required that everyone be assigned a quota of water, which may be entrusted to each such person with the ground rule that they would keep the quota and share of water thus received under their personal custody. Now, just imagine, if this was done, how could every human being have managed to assemble enough water containers of suitable sizes and capacities in which water needed for a period of 3 to 6 months could be stored? Even if this could somehow be done, it goes without saying that this water would have gone bad within a few days' drinking, which, in fact, using which for some other purpose would have been out of the question. Therefore, divine power introduced yet another unique system to preserve it and make it become available as and when and where needed. We see that some portion of the water rained down is immediately put to use when it helps farms and trees to bloom and human beings and animals to quench their thirst. Part of it gets deposited and preserved in open ponds and lakes. Then a greater portion of it is transformed into ice, a frozen sea which is so conveniently put atop mountain peaks. Neither dust nor filth can touch it. Had this water remained in the liquid form, there would have been the danger of its being contaminated with dust or filth brought by the winds. Maybe birds and animals would have fallen into it and died, which would have spoiled this water. But what divine power did was to take this treasure of water, turn it into a virtual sea of ice, and put it on top of the mountains, from where it keeps seeping into the pores of the mountains and then becomes what streams are, and thus it reaches everywhere. Places where there are no streams either, water keeps flowing under the earth's surface like human veins in every region of the world. Dig a well, it would come out. To sum up, this divine system of water supply holds thousands of blessings in its fold. First of all, the creation of water is in itself a great blessing. Then, making it reach all regions of the earth is the second blessing. Then, making it potable is the third blessing. Then, giving human beings the opportunity to drink it is the fourth blessing. Then, the formidable system of collecting and preserving water according to its need is the fifth blessing. And then, giving men and women of this world the ability to benefit by it is the sixth blessing, because, despite water being available, there may be unwelcome circumstances or natural and man-made calamities due to which one may not remain capable enough to drink water. In the present verse of the Holy Qur'an, and gave it to you to drink, and you are not able to store it, a clear hint has been given to these blessings, and also a warning to those who refuse to see truth as it is. Blessed is Allah, the best of creators.
And indeed, it is we who give life and cause death, and we are the inheritor.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 22, for the Tafsir.
And we have already known the preceding generations among you, and we have already known the later ones to come.
Going ahead and remaining behind in righteous deeds, the difference in degrees. Some exegetic interpretations of the words al-mustaqdimin, those who go ahead, and al-mustakhirin, those who remain behind, appearing in verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 24 tilde. All have been variously reported from tafsir authorities among the Sahaba, may Allah be pleased with him, and tabi'in. These are, al-mustaqdimin are those born to date, and al-mustakhirin are those not born yet, Qatada and Ikrimah. Al-mustaqdimin means the dead, and al-mustakhirin means those alive, till now Ibn Abbas and Dahak. Al-mustaqdimin signifies good people who came before the appearance of the Ummah of the Holy Prophet, and al-mustakhirin refers to his Ummah itself, Mujahid. Al-mustaqdimin denotes people who obey Allah and do good deeds, while al-mustakhirin refers to people who disobey him and neglect what is good, Hasan and Qatada. Al-mustaqdimin are people who remain ahead in the rows of Sal, or in the front lines of jihad, and in other righteous deeds, and al-mustakhirin are those who remain behind in these deeds of merit, stay in the rear rows, and are used to being late, which is the tafsir given by leading authorities Hasan al-Basri, Said ibn al-Musayyab, al-Qutubi, al-Shabi, and others. It is obvious that there is no distinct conflict or contradiction in these sayings, in the real sense. They can be accommodated all in one, because the all-encompassing knowledge of Allah Ta'ala covers all kinds of people who go ahead or remain behind. In his tafsir, Al-Qutubi has said that this verse indicates the merit of performing salah in the first row, and soon after the time it becomes due. This is in accordance with the hadith where the Holy Prophet has been reported to have said, if people were to find out the enormous merit of calling the adhan and standing in the first row of salah, everyone would have started making the effort to necessarily stand in the first row, and when there would remain no space for everybody to stand there, lots would have to be drawn. With this, Al-Qutubi has also reported the saying of Sayyidina Ka'b, may Allah be pleased with him. There are some people in this ummah who, when they put their forehead on the ground for their sajda, forgiveness is granted to all those who are praying behind them. Therefore, Sayyidina Ka'b liked to be in the last row in the hope that perhaps there may be in the front rows some servant of Allah of the class, because of whose barakah, blissful presence, I may be forgiven. What is apparent here is that real merit does lie in praying in the first row, as stands proof from the clear statements of the Qur'an and Sunnah. But a person who does not, for some reason, find a place in the first row, then he too will have a sort of merit in that there may perhaps be some righteous servant of Allah praying in the front rows, for whose sake he too may be forgiven. And the way praying in the first row of salah stands proof from this verse, also proved, is the superiority of being in the front lines of jihad.
And indeed, your Lord will gather them. Indeed, He is wise and knowing.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 24, for the tafsir.
And we did certainly create man out of clay from an altered black mud.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 24, for the tafsir.
And the jinn we created before from scorching fire.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 24, for the tafsir.
And mention, O Muhammad, when your Lord said to the angels, I will create a human being out of clay from an altered black mud.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 24 for the Tafsir.
And when I have proportioned him and breathed into him of my created soul, then fall down to him in prostration.
Commentary. Blowing of spirit into the human body and making angels prostrate to him. A brief review. Is the spirit, Ra, a physical entity or pure essence? On this subject, there has been a difference of opinion among the learned since a long time. According to Ash-Sheikh Abd al-Rauf al-Manawi, there are up to 1,000 positions taken by them, but they are all based on conjectures. None of them can be called certain. Imam al-Ghazali, Imam Razi, and mystic scholars and thinkers maintain that it is no physical entity. It is pure essence. Imam Razi has advanced 12 arguments in support of this view, but the majority of the ulama of the Muslim Ummah declare Ruh, spirit, soul, to be a highly refined physical entity. The word naf means to blow, to breathe into. If we were to go by the consensus of the majority of ulama and take Ruh to be a refined physical entity, then breathing into it becomes evident by itself. And if we were to accept it to be pure essence, then breathing into it would mean establishing its connection to the body. Then Al-Quran, Ruh, spirit, and naf, self, the view of Kagli bin Allah, may Allah have mercy on him. Leaving this long, winding debate aside, we consider it sufficient to refer the reader to a special research presented by Qadi Thanullah Penapati, may Allah have mercy on him, in his Tafsir Mashari. The respected commentator says that Ra has two kinds, higher, ulwi, and lower, sifli. The higher Ra is bereft of matter and is a creation of Allah Ta'ala, the comprehension of whose reality is difficult. The masters of insight by illumination, all al-Kash, see its real station to be above the throne, Arsh, because it is more refined than the Arsh. And this higher Ra, as seen through illumination, is sensed in 5 degrees at upper and lower levels. Their number is 5, and they are the heart, Kal, the spirit, Ra, the mystery, Sir, the secret, Kofi, the most secret, Akfa. These are all from the refinements of the domain of divine command, towards which the Holy Quran has hinted by declaring, say, the spirit is from the command of my Lord. Surah Al-Isra, Ayah 85. As for the lower Ra, it is a refined vapor which emerges from the combination of the 4 elements of the human body, that is, from fire, water, dust, and air, and this lower root is called the self-nafs. Allah Ta'ala has made this lower spirit called self a mirror of the higher spirits mentioned above. An illustration would make it clear. If we were to hold a mirror against the sun, then, despite that the sun is far, far away, its reflection comes into the mirror, and because of the light, that too starts glowing like the sun. It even receives the heat of the sun in it, which could burn a piece of cloth. Same thing applies to the higher spirits. Though they are, because of their purity and detachment, very high and elevated in station, and far distant too, yet their reflection appears in the mirror of the lower spirit and transfers the states and effects of the higher spirits into it. When these very effects take root in human selves, they become known as subordinate parts of each individual spirit. Then, this lower form of spirit, which is identified as nafs or self-armed with the states and effects which it has acquired from the higher forms of spirits, first gets connected with the heart muscle of the human body. This connection itself is another name for life. Once the lower spirit relates to the human heart, it infuses in it life and cognitions which it has acquired from the higher spirits. This lower spirit then starts circulating through the thin veins spread throughout the body, and thus reaches every part of it. It is this infusion of the lower spirit into the human body which has been called the blowing or breathing of the spirit, the nafk of Ra, because it bears close resemblance to blowing or breathing into something. And in the present verse, Allah Ta'ala has attributed the spirit to himself. He has said, from my spirit, so that the superior status of the human spirit out of the entire creation becomes evident because it has come into existence without any material substance, only under divine command. In addition to that, it has a unique ability to accept and absorb the manifestations of divine light, an ability which does not exist in the spirit of any other living creature other than that of the human person. Though, dust is the dominant element in the creation of man, and that is why the creation of man has been attributed to clay, but the reality is that man is a combination of 10 elements, out of which 5 belong to the universe of creation, while the other 5 to the universe of divine command. The 4 elements of the universe of creation are fire, water, dust, and air. The 5th is the refined vapor from these 4, which is called the lower spirit or nafs. As for the 5 elements of the universe of divine command mentioned above, they are heart, kalb, spirit, ra, mystery, sir, secret, coffee, totally hidden, akfa. It is because of this comprehensive making of the human model that man became deserving of divine vice-regency, and very much capable of absorbing the light which helps him know his Lord and, of course, sustaining his own burning quest on the path of love and longing for him. The outcome, though unspecified as to its actual state, is communion with the divine, because the Holy Prophet has said, "One shall be with whoever one loves." And since human beings have the ability to absorb the manifestations of divine light, and since they have been given the honor of being in communion with the divine, it came to be the dictate of divine wisdom that man be made the object of prostration by the angels. It was said, "You fall down before him prostrating."
So the angels prostrated, all of them entirely.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 29, for the Tafsir.
Except Iblis, he refused to be with those who prostrated.
The command to prostrate was given to angels. Iblis was to follow suit. Addressing Iblis in Surah Al-Araf, it was said, "What stopped you from prostrating when I ordered you?" Surah Al-Araf, Ayah 12, it shows that the command to prostrate was given, along with the angels, to Iblis as well. However, the verses you have gone through a little earlier apparently give the sense that the command was particular to the angels. This could mean that the command was originally given to the angels, but as Iblis too was present among the angels, therefore he too was covered by this command as a corollary, because when the command went forth for the most august creation of Allah Ta'ala, that is, the angels, that they pay their homage to Sayyidina Adam, it was obvious that any other creation was bound to follow suit under this command. It was for this reason that Iblis did not respond by saying that he was never asked to prostrate to begin with, so he could not be charged with the crime of non-compliance of the order. Perhaps the words of the Qur'an here, "He refused to be among those who prostrated," may contain a hint in that direction. Rather than say, that is, he refused to prostrate, what was actually said was, he refused to be among those who prostrated. This indicates that the main prostrators were after all the angels, but Iblis too, being present with them, was reason bound to join the prostrating angels. So the divine wrath was against his failure to join.
Allah said, "O Iblis, what is the matter with you that you are not with those who prostrate?"
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
He said, "Never would I prostrate to a human whom you created out of clay from an altered black mud."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Allah said, "Then get out of it, for indeed you are expelled."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
And indeed, upon you is the curse until the day of recompense.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
He said, "My Lord, then reprieve me until the day they are resurrected."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Allah said, "So indeed you are of those reprieved."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Until the day of the time well known.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Iblis said, "My Lord, because you have put me in error, I will surely make disobedience attractive to them on earth, and I will mislead them all."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Except among them your chosen servants.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Allah said, "This is a path of return to me that is straight."
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 31 for the Tafsir.
Indeed, my servants, no authority will you have over them, except those who follow you of the deviators.
The meaning of Shaitan, having no power over special servants of Allah. From the verse, "My servants are such that you have no power over them," we learn that there are special and chosen servants of Allah Ta'ala who are not affected by Shaitanic deception. But within this event relating to Sayyidina Adam it has also been said that the deception of Shaitan worked in the case of Sayyidina Adam and Hawa. Similarly, about the noble companions, the Qur'an has said, Shaitan had but made them slip for some of their deeds. Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 155, which tells us that there was an occasion, during the Battle of Uhud, when the evil plan of the Shaitan worked against the companions as well. Therefore, in the present verse, the sense of saying that the special servants of Allah are such that Shaitan has no power over them is that their hearts and minds never come under the power and sway of Shaitan to the extent that would just not become alerted to their error at all, because of which they would remain deprived of necessary repentance forever, or that they fall into some sin the forgiveness of which would become impossible. As for the events mentioned above, they offer no contradiction because Adam and Hawa made their tawbah and this repentance was accepted. Similarly, the noble companions referred to above had also made their tawbah. Thus, whatever sin they fell into because of the mechanization of Shaitan was forgiven.
And indeed, hell is the promised place for them all.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
It has 7 gates. For every gate is of them a portion designated.
The 7 gates of Jahannam. About the statement, it has 7 gates, according to a narration of Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, reported by Imam Ahmad, Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, and al-Bayhaqi. The 7 gates of Jahannam, hell, are in terms of 7 levels, one upon the other. Some others have taken these as common gates, where every gate will be reserved for a special kind of sinners. Qatu, by.
Indeed, the righteous will be within gardens and springs.
Commentary. According to Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, when the people of Jannah will enter Jannah, first of all 2 streams of water will be presented before them. They will drink water from the first stream, and all mutual grudges they had from their life in the mortal world, the effect of which naturally survived right through the end, will be totally washed away. In its place, they all will feel love for each other in their hearts, because mutual bickering too is virtually a pain and punishment as such, and Jannah is free of all pain. As for the report occurring in Sahih Hadith, anyone who nurses the least grudge in his heart against a Muslim will not go to Jannah. It means the grudge and malice which is rooted in material ends, and is thereby one's personal intention and choice, and because of which this person keeps looking for an opportunity to inflict pain or loss on his enemy. Being ill at ease in someone's company, as a matter of natural temperament, a human trait beyond one's control, is not included here. Similar is the case of what is based on some Islamic legal ground. It is this kind of grudge which has been referred to in this verse, and where it has been said that such grudge and temperamental distaste will be removed from their hearts. It is about this kind of grudge that Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I hope that I shall be, along with Talha and Zubair, among those the dust of mutual anxiety from whose hearts will be removed while entering Jannah. The reference here is to the difference of opinion and resulting conflict which took place between Sayyidina Talha and Sayyidina Zubair and Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him.
Having been told, enter it in peace, safe and secure.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 45 for the Tafsir.
And we will remove whatever is in their breasts of resentment, so they will be brothers on thrones facing each other.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 45 for the Tafsir.
No fatigue will touch them therein, nor from it will they ever be removed.
From verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48, no weariness shall touch them therein, nor will they be expelled from there. We learn about 2 features of Jannah. No one shall ever feel tired or weak. This is contrary to what happens in our mortal world, where hard work naturally results in fatigue. In fact, even a state of total rest and fun would sometimes tire a person out, no matter how enjoyable are things one is occupied with. The other feature of Jannah we discovered is that the blessings once received there shall be eternal. These blessings shall never diminish, nor shall anyone be expelled from there. In Surah Sad it was said, this is sustenance provided by us which is never to exhaust. Surah Sad, Ayah 54. And in the present verse, it was said, nor will they be expelled from there. That is, they shall never be deprived of the state of bliss bestowed upon them. This is contrary to the affairs of the mortal world, where the recipient of the best of conveniences lives under the apprehension that the owner of the facilities may become displeased with him one of those days and expel him out. As for the third probability, that the blessings of Jannah may remain everlasting, nor one is expelled from there, but one may himself get bored by living there and wish to go out, the Qur'an has demolished this probability in one sentence of Surah Al-Kahf with the following words, that is, these people too would never seek to return from their Surah Al-Kahf. Ayah 108.
O Muhammad, inform my servants that it is I who am the forgiving, the merciful.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And that it is my punishment, which is the painful punishment.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And inform them about the guests of Abraham.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
When they entered upon him and said, Peace, Abraham said, Indeed, we are fearful of you.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
The angel said, Fear not. Indeed, we give you good tidings of a learned boy.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
He said, Have you given me good tidings, although old age has come upon me? Then of what wonder do you inform?
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
They said, We have given you good tidings in truth, so do not be of the despairing.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
He said, And who despairs of the mercy of his Lord except for those astray?
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
Abraham said, Then what is your business here, O messengers?
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
They said, Indeed, we have been sent to a people of criminals.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
Except the family of Lot. Indeed, we will save them all.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
Except his wife. Allah decreed that she is of those who remain behind.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And when the messengers came to the family of Lot,
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
he said, Indeed, you are people unknown.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
They said, But we have come to you with that about which they were disputing.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And we have come to you with truth, and indeed we are truthful.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
So set out with your family during a portion of the night, and follow behind them, and let not anyone among you look back, and continue on to where you are commanded.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And we conveyed to him the decree of that matter, that those sinners would be eliminated by early morning.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And the people of the city came rejoicing.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
Lot said, Indeed, these are my guests, so do not shame me.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
And fear Allah, and do not disgrace me.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
They said, Have we not forbidden you from protecting people?
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
Lot said, These are my daughters, if you would be doers of lawful marriage.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 48 for the Tafsir.
By your life, O Muhammad, indeed they were, in their intoxication, wandering blindly.
Commentary. A great honor for the Holy Prophet. About the word of Allah, Lamra, by your life. The majority of commentators, as reported in Al-Ma'ani, have said that the addressee of Lamruka is the Holy Prophet. It is his life that Allah Ta'ala has sworn by. Al-Bayhaqi and Dalil al-Nubuwah and Abu Naim, Ibn Marjawayh and others have reported from Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, that Allah Ta'ala has not bestowed on anyone in the whole creation an honor and rank higher than that of Sayyidina Muhammad al-Mustafa. This is the reason why Allah Ta'ala has never sworn by the life of any prophet or angel, while in this verse He has sworn by the age and life of the Holy Prophet, which is the highest conceivable honor and deference accorded to him. Swearing by non-Allah. To swear by anyone or anything other than the names and attributes of Allah Ta'ala is not permissible for any human being, because one will only swear by whoever is held in the highest of esteem, and as obvious, Allah alone can be the highest. According to Hadith, the Holy Prophet said, "Do not swear by your mothers, fathers, and idols. And do not swear by anyone except Allah, and if you have to swear by Allah, do it only when you are truthful in your statement." Reported by Abu Dawud and Anas, from Sayyidina Abu Hurairah it appears in the Sahihain, the Sahih of al-Bukhari and the Sahih of Muslim, that the Holy Prophet once saw Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, swearing by his father. He called out to him and said, "Watch out! Allah Ta'ala forbids swearing by fathers. Whoever has to take an oath, let him do it in the name of Allah. Otherwise, let him be silent." Al-Qurtubi under the commentary on Surah Al-Ma'idah, but this injunction applies to Allah's creation in general. As for Allah Ta'ala himself, he swears by different things he has created. This is particular to him. Its purpose is to state the sublimity and beneficence of something from the desired angle. Then, the cause of forbidding common people from swearing by anyone other than Allah is not present here, because, in the word of Allah, there is no probability that he would take someone from his creation to be the highest and the best. Again, the reason is that absolute greatness is particular only with Allah Ta'ala.
So the shriek seized them at sunrise.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 72 for the Tafsir.
And we made the highest part of the city its lowest, and rained upon them stones of hard clay.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 72 for the Tafsir.
Indeed, in that are signs for those who discern.
Learn your essential lesson from sites ruined by divine punishment. In verses Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 75 to 76, surely in that there are signs for those who read signs. And surely, if their city is located on the straight road, Allah Ta'ala has pointed out the geographical location of such ruined cities which fall on the main road which takes people from Arabia to Syria. Also said with it was that in them there are great signs of the perfect power of Allah Ta'ala for those who believe and have the necessary hindsight and foresight. About this, there is another statement in Surah Al-Qasas where it was said, "Not lived in after them except the little Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 58, in other words, after their destruction by divine punishment. These habitations were not repopulated except some." So, by combining these indicators, we can see that Allah Ta'ala has made these ruined habitations and owns a site from which coming generations could learn their essential lesson. This is the reason why the Holy Prophet, whenever he has passed by these sites, went through a particular emotional state under which he would be overwhelmed by the awe of Almighty Allah, and which caused his blessed head to lower down, and he would then try to make his mount hasten through these sights. This particular mode of action taken by the Holy Prophet has established the sunnah that making sites which have been hit by divine punishment a place of picnic and amusement is hard-heartedness at its ugliest. Rather than do something like that, the only method of learning a lesson from them is to think about and feel the very presence of the most perfect power of Allah Ta'ala on this site being visited, which should cause one to tremble with the fear of his punishment. The habitations of the time of Sayyidina Lut which were overturned are located, as said by the Quran, on the Arabia-Syria route. This site is still present in the proximity of Jordan in the form of a wilderness below the sea level. On a major portion, flows a particular kind of water like a river. Sea life cannot survive here. Therefore, it is called the Dead Sea or the Sea of Lut.
And indeed, those cities are situated on an established road.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 75 for the Tafsir.
Indeed, in that is a sign for the believers.
The local Department of Archaeology has set up some hotels and residential quarters at this site to attract tourists. The result is that people with an incorrigible infatuation with the material and who are equally dismissive of the concerns of the hereafter have made this site a place of fun and frolic. People go there to enjoy the sights of the ancient. Lest such heedlessness becomes a habit, the Holy Qur'an has served a warning towards the end by saying, "Surely, in it, there are signs for the believers." It means, in reality, these sites and the events associated with them are full of moral lessons for everyone having insight. But it is the good fortune of believers only who would benefit by learning what these sites teach, while others would go through these sites as tourists and leave empty-handed.
And the companions of the thicket were also wrongdoers.
Commentary. Aka means a dense forest. There are other views too. Some commentators say that there was a dense forest near Madian, therefore Acre is actually the title of the people of Madian. Others have said that the people of Acre and the people of Madian were two different people. It was after the destruction of one of them that Sayyidina Shaib was sent to the other. In Tafsir Al-Ma'ani, the following Marfu hadith appears with reference to Ibn Asakir. Madian and the people of Acre are two peoples. Allah Ta'ala sent Shaib to them. And Al-Hijr is a valley situated in between Hijr, as in Syria. It was inhabited by the people of Thamud. A brief explanation described at the beginning of the surah was the hostility of the disbelievers of Makkah against the Holy Prophet, which also carried words of comfort for him briefly. Now, at the end of the surah, more words of comfort appear to mollify his concern about their grudge and hostility. Here, he is being asked not to grieve over their hostile opposition, because there is a day when all scores will be settled, and that is the day of judgment, and it is bound to come as he has been told. Then there is the fact that Allah did not create the heavens and the earth, and whatever is there in between them, but with truth and wisdom. The wise consideration behind this creation is that people should believe in the existence of the Maker of the universe, attest to his oneness and supremacy, and obey his injunctions. Also present there is the consequence of not doing so, after the argument of Allah stands established, that the defaulter be punished. Since this promised punishment does not seem to come in full right here in this mortal world, it has to be somewhere else. For that the time is fixed, the time of the Qiyamah, the day of judgment, and this hour is sure to come. Everyone will be taken care of there. This being the wise arrangement of things, let him not grieve. The better course for him is to overlook their wicked behavior in a gracious manner, that is, neither pay attention to their behavior nor complain about it. The reason is that his Lord is great as Creator and great as the Master Knower as well. He knows his patience and fortitude, and he knows the evil machinations of his enemies too. Therefore, he is to exact the full return from them of what they have been doing.
So we took retribution from them, and indeed both cities are on a clear highway.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
And certainly did the companions of the Thamud deny the messengers.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
And we gave them our signs, but from them they were turning away.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
And they used to carve from the mountains houses, feeling secure.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
But the shriek seized them at early morning.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
So nothing availed them from what they used to earn.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
And we have not created the heavens and earth and that between them except in truth. And indeed the hour is coming, so forgive with gracious forgiveness.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
Indeed, your Lord, He is the knowing Creator.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 78, for the Tafsir.
And we have certainly given you, O Muhammad, 7 of the often repeated verses and the great Quran.
Commentary. Surah Al-Fatiha is the text and summary of the whole Quran. That Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening, has been called the glorious Qur, and in this verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 87 indicates that Surah Al-Fatiha is, in a way, the whole Quran because the basic principles of Islam have been merged in it. In order to understand this, one must keep in mind that the words, the 7 oft-repeated verses, and the glorious Quran in verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 87, are interpreted by the commentators in different ways. Most of them are of the view that 7 oft-repeated verses refer to Surah Al-Fatiha, which consists of 7 verses. Since these 7 verses are repeated in every salah, they have been referred to in the verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayat 87, as oft-repeated verses. Then, the words in the glorious Quran occurring after it are of explanatory nature, which refer to the same 7 oft-repeated verses. Therefore, the name of the glorious Quran has been given here to the Surah Al-Fatiha itself. The comment of the author is based on this interpretation. On being questioned in Al-Malshar about what will it be, in verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 92, swearing by his own sacred being, Allah Ta'ala has declared that all such people who came earlier or later shall definitely be questioned. The Sadama, may Allah be pleased with him, asked the Holy Prophet as to what it will be about. He said that it will be about saying, La ilaha illallah, there is no God worthy of worship but Allah, al-Qatubai. After reporting this narration in his Tafsir, has said, it means the fulfilling of this pledge practically as signified by the kalima tayyibah, La ilaha illallah. A simple verbal statement is not what is desired here because, as for verbal attestation, that was done by the hypocrites, Munafiqun too. Hazrat al-Hasan al-Basri, may Allah have mercy on him, said, a man, faith, does not become a living reality by taking on a particular style and form, and din, religion, does not prosper by simply having the best of wishes for it. A man is the name of that certitude which has been poured into the heart, and which has been proved true by deeds. This is well illustrated by a hadith from Sayyidina Zayd ibn Arqam, in which the Holy Prophet has been reported to have said, a person who says, La ilaha illallah, there is no God worthy of worship but Allah, with ikhlas, totally unalloyed sincerity, will definitely go to Jannah. People asked, Ya Rasul Allah, how is ikhlas related to this kalima? He said, when this kalima stops a person from what has been prohibited by Allah as unlawful and impermissible, then it is with ikhlas, with sincerity in the absolute sense, Qatubai.
Do not extend your eyes toward that by which we have given enjoyment to certain categories of the disbelievers, and do not grieve over them, and lower your wing to the believers.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 87, for the Tafsir.
And say, indeed, I am the clear warner.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 87, for the Tafsir.
Just as we had revealed scriptures to the separators.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 87, for the Tafsir.
Who have made the Quran into portions.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 87, for the Tafsir.
So by your Lord, we will surely question them all.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 87, for the Tafsir.
About what they used to do.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 87, for the Tafsir.
Then declare what you are commanded and turn away from the polytheists.
On spreading the religious message stage by stage as convenient. Before the revelation of the verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 94, now proclaim what you are commanded to. The Holy Prophet and his noble Sahaba, may Allah be pleased with him, used to make salah and recite Quran secretly, lest they are seen and harmed. The process of passing on the religious message to others and the mission of teaching and training was also kept secret, being limited to a counted few. The reason was that doing so openly would have given the disbelievers the opportunity to bring harm to them. In this verse Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 95, Allah Ta'ala has himself taken the responsibility of seeing that they stay safe against those who deride their faith and bring harm to them. Therefore, from that time onwards, the mission was pursued openly and publicly in all its aspects, recitation of the Quran, acts of worship, the call, the propagation, everything.
Indeed, we are sufficient for you against the mockers.
The people who have been referred to in the verse, surely we are sufficient for you against those who deride the ringleaders, were 5 in number. Al-Az ibn Waid al-Aswad ibn al, Mutalib Aswad ibn Abd Yaghath Walid ibn Magh, Harith ibn Talha. They were killed simultaneously and miraculously when signaled by Sayyidina Jibril. This event provides a guideline in matters of tabligh and dawah. In places and under circumstances where a worker in the way of Allah sees no good coming out of saying what is true and right openly, rather apprehends harm coming to him in doing so, then, under such conditions, doing so secretly is also correct and permissible. However, when there is the option and ability to proclaim things openly, then no delay should be made in taking a public stance.
Who make equal with Allah another deity, but they are going to know.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 95, for the Tafsir.
And we already know that your breast is constrained by what they say.
The spiritual defense against enemy hostility. From verses Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 97 to 98. We learn that should one face heart, trending sayings and doings of enemies, the anxiety from which bothers him, then there is a spiritual cure for that condition. Let him or her get busy with tasbih and ibadah, praising Allah Ta'ala and praying before him. Allah Ta'ala will himself remove this pain and anxiety.
So exalt Allah with praise of your Lord, and be of those who prostrate to him.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 97, for the Tafsir.
And worship your Lord until there comes to you the certainty of death.
See Surah Al-Hijr, Ayah 97, for the Tafsir.